Welcome to it first of a new anime review series. This is the first part of three. Well, for now, anyways. I will do part four later of the series Goblin Slayer. Yes, I know about the series. Well, let's just say its first episode's reputation for being very controversial. Yes, I have read the first two light novels, which the season is adapted from, and I've read pretty much the entire manga for Goblin Slayer, including pretty much all of its spin-off books, and there's like several of them. I'm not kidding. Yeah, for some reason, when they adapted the books themselves into manga, they adapted the first three and basically books five forward. So four, for some reason, was adapted for a spin-off book called Brand New Day, which was basically adapted for one chapter of the first chapter of that series was actually adapted for this particular one. Now, these particular episodes, I'm discussing the first five episodes of the series. Yep, the first five. And these first five cover pretty much, from what I can tell, the first, let's just say, 10 chapters of book one, the first chapter, chapter two, and the first chapter, first chapter, chapter four, chapters 10 and 17, at least the first 10 chapters of the main manga plus chapter 17, and the first chapter, Brand New Day. Everybody thinking, Brand New Day. That sounds like something Marvel Comics did. No, don't worry, this has nothing to do with basically Spider-Man. Now, here's kind of the thing about this particular series. All the characters have got really weird names. It's like so odd that for some reason they couldn't give these characters actual names. They just give these characters titles. The main character is called Goblin Slayer. His female companion is called Priestess. And these are the characters you're probably thinking, wait, these are the characters of Goblin Slayer. And these are High Adventure Elf, Dwarf Shaman, Lizard Priest, Cowgirl, who's actually his childhood friend, Guild Girl, Witch, Spearman, Spirit Maiden, and No Offenser. Those are the characters. Sword Maiden herself does not make a full anime debut until episode 5, so don't worry, I won't get to her later. Mostly put the first episode for the first 10 minutes of the episode focus on the character Priestess. Goblin is there to show up for like 10 minutes in the episode. It's like, yeah. They give really weird music for some reason when he shows up. Previous Priestess has pretty much just applied at the first episode starts off with her arriving at the guild, basically. Yeah, it's actually the second series basically I watched where it involves a guild. The only series basically where actually it's the third series because the only series been like this or where it involves guilds has been Fairy Tail and Overlord. This is the third one. But this is the second one actually involving rankings. Yes. I'm sure there might have been other series done this besides Overlord and Goblin Slayer, but these two are the ones I can think of. And Priestess starts off with the rank of Porcelain. Goblin Slayer is a silver ranked adventurer, which is one of our higher ones. Yeah, they say the reason why he got so high because the sheer number of goblins this man has killed. How many he killed? It's never stated. He's probably killed a lot of them. Yeah. So Priestess basically wanted to join a party, and then just by sheer coincidence, the party basically, a brand new bunch of rookies, like, hey, let's go out and rescue some girls from goblins. Nothing can go wrong here. And the group is comprised of Priestess and two other women plus one guy. Yeah, one swordsman. I think it was also and like two other women. Basically, yeah, a guy with three beautiful women. They go in, and they are completely overwhelmed by goblins. The guy himself is killed pretty easily by goblins. As for the women, well, the one Priestess, of course, is perfectly fine. The other two have their clothes stripped, and well, one is pretty much nearly sliced to death. The other one is pretty much nearly raped by a goblin. Yes, and I've heard that this particular scene got a bunch of hate against the studio for this. In case you're wondering, did this happen in the light novel and the manga? Yes. Yes, it did. It did happen. And from what I can tell, they did have a slight alteration here, Where in the manga, and of course I think like novelists happened, where when they had Goblin show up and he kills the woman, she's in a different position that she was. And you're thinking, wait, is that something else? No, no, no. In the manga, she was leaning against a wall. In the anime, she's laying on the floor. It's a slight alteration, but I don't think it really affects anything. But basically, Priestess is briefly wounded in the shoulder by a freaking arrow of all things. And then, of course, that's when Goblin shows up, kills two goblins really easily. And that, of course, there's mentions a big goblin. Yeah, that's actually a hobgoblin. Yep, as explained by him as a hobgoblin. So he pretty much treats her wound, gives her a potion, and has the woman that's there basically. Well, he has her. He basically kills her because the boy was gonna kill her anyways. The other one basically they're rescued perfectly fine, but she's traumatized by the encounter. And what does Goblin Slayer do? Slice and dicing a bunch of goblins. Kills the hobgoblin pretty easily. He kills him last. He kills the goblin shaman first. And then he goes up to him after he stabbed him with a frickin' spear. Then he basically slices a little bit more. And then he gets the priest. He's like, yeah, time to go. And then slices the hobgoblin. Tosses him back. Throws some gasoline. Yes, gasoline. Lights a blaze. Done. And they go back, and of course, well, the girl is there to be saved. She's saved, but she's traumatized, so she had to retire as an adventurer. Priestess, of course, decide because of the experience, she's going to continue traveling with Goblin Slayer, which, from what I can tell, she still does. Yep. The second episode is kind of exploring the guy's backstory. It's also an introduction of the character Cowgirl. I'm not kidding, that's seriously the girl's name. And for some reason, this series, I have no idea why this is. They can't address characters by their actual names. We have to give them titles. Cowgirl, Priestess, Guild Girl, Witch. Yeah, this character is a witch. Yeah, she married David in episode 1, but she didn't really much do anything. You see her, but she doesn't really do anything much. Though she does show up, she does give Priestess a little bit of advice on Goblin Slayer, because she's an old friend of his. And she does help out in like one episode, episode 5. She doesn't do very much. A lot of the time when you see her, she's smoking a pipe, showing off her sexy body. Well, she's completely clothed. And she's basically the partner of Spearman. Yeah, a guy who, from what I can tell, never shown is basically what he's done in the series so far. Yep. And basically, Goblin Slayer and here's the thing about Goblin Slayer in these 5 episodes. You never see him without his helmet on. And in case you might ask, does he take off his helmet in the manga? Yes. Yes, he does. Do we see his face? No. Not at all. I think that's kind of stupid for the series, dude. I mean, you have the lead character and you don't see his face. At least in the case of Overlord, we get a chance to see the man's face. Well, not when he's human form. For some reason, they keep his face in silhouette for some strange reason. But in this series, Goblin Slayer never shows his face. I've seen him take off his armor in the manga. But as for showing his face, nope. We have to keep his face hidden for some reason. We don't know what his face looks like at all. I think you do see his face in the Year 1 series. That was basically the prequel to this one. I think you see it there. I don't remember. But in the main series, nope. Don't see his face at all. And Cowgirl's up basically. Of course, she's basically his childhood friend. He's basically living with her. Well, it's not her house per se. He's living in her barn. That's where he sleeps when he's not venturing. And he's actually checking the farm, see if goblins been there, because he's got past experience with goblins. In case you're wondering, like, why does he hate goblins? Simply put, the reason is because his family was attacked by goblins and he was the only survivor. That's the reason why he hates them. He killed his parents and his sister. This is a reducing the flashback, but Goblin Slayer? Nope. Don't see his face. We have to keep his face in silhouette for some reason. We can't show his entire face for some strange reason. I don't know why. I don't know if he showed his face in episode 12, but these 5 episodes, nope. Don't see his face, so we do see him with a helmet in a flashback, but don't see his face. Cowgirl herself basically is very caring toward Goblin Slayer, despite the fact she grew up with him. Surprisingly, she's never still having feelings for him. Also, when they first introduce her, it is so interesting. First, you see her as a child. Adorable little girl, grows up, and the first thing you see her do, she's naked in bed. Now you're probably thinking, wait, did she sleep with Goblin Slayer? No, she didn't. She's basically sleeps basically butt naked. I can tell this because you don't see her bra. Well, we do see her basically look like she's sticking out of the window, looking at Goblin Slayer, and she's underwear. Apparently, Goblin Slayer has no problem with seeing her in her underwear at all. He doesn't react to it at all. He's not embarrassed by it. He just has no reaction to it. Then she puts on her outfit, which simply put is this: a white long sleeve shirt, which shows off her cleavage, and a pair of overalls and boots. That's her outfit. Priestess is a blonde. No, she's not a dumb blonde. She wears like this priestess style outfit with this white, gold, blue, very nice looking attire. The character reminds me a lot of Azia from High School DxD, and surprisingly not voiced by the same woman. Yeah, it's a different voice actor, but very like the character, it looks very similar to Azia. Yeah. And she, of course, doesn't play much big a role in episode 2. You see her briefly in episode 2. And Cowgirl sees her. She doesn't talk to her, surprisingly. But, yeah, the whole point of episode 2 just introduction of Cowgirl. Episode 3 is pretty much like the series. Let's see, this is the one basically where... Well, once again, stuff, of course. Oh yeah, 3 is basically where they goes on an adventure, take out a humongous amount of goblins. Yeah, 3 and 4 basically are a two-parter, where you have this is the introduction of the lizard priest, dwarf shaman, and the high archer elf. Though these 3 did show up at the end of episode 2. Yeah, they did. They're looking for a guy by either bread cutter or orkbulog. Yeah, and it turns out they're actually looking for Goblin Slayer. So they go to the guild headquarters, and they don't really, because they can't exactly describe what he looks like, what his name is like. And they mentioned Goblin's like, oh, I know who that is. And there he is, walking right indoors, speaking to the devil. We have a quest for you. And of course, I mentioned, like, took a private meeting, and they had just come back from a mission. So, priestess orders a rest. So they basically talk in a private room. And when they mention demons, like, not interested. I'm not interested in demons. I'm only interested in killing goblins. And basically, High Archer basically is very, let's just say she's very egotistical. Lucky enough that Lizard Priest basically explains what's going on. Because the fact we have a high number of demons, there is a nest of goblins being taken out at these ruins. He's interested. Okay. So he agrees to go along in order to kill these goblins. And Priest is basically, he's like, no, stay here to rest. Like, no, I'm going. No matter what. Like, sure. So basically, we have a party of 5. Yeah, and they actually go out camping later, which I thought was really nice. They included this particular scene. Yeah, basically, it reveals things about these people. It's like, yeah, the fact that High Archer Elf is basically not good with the booze. She's basically very easily drunk. Yep. And she at one point wants to get her hands on 2 scrolls that Goblin Slayer keeps in his bag. And they even try they even have meat served at this campfire. Yeah, it's meat. High Archer Elf basically doesn't want to eat, so Priestess offers her some soup, and she takes it. And she really enjoys it. And then Goblin Slayer introduces the Lizard Priest to cheese. He has never seen cheese before. And Priest said, is this from the farm, from your friend's farm? He says, yes. Yes, it is. And he tries it, and he loves it. And he's like, food of the gods! Yeah, this is so hilarious. It's a great scene. We're going to get darker after this. And then they go sleep. Of course, he sleeps in his armor because he says, why don't you take off? Because it's not risk of being attacked. Yeah. If you want to know what his experience is, Read Year One. I've only read the manga. I have not read the light novel for Year One, but it's an interesting story, though it's very dark. Yeah. It pretty much explains like what happened with his family, how he got his armor, and basically developed his interesting habits. He was asked in episode 1, "Did you study them?" And he's like, "Yeah, I studied them a lot and all their tactics, whatever." So they arrived at the ruins, and there's 2 goblin guards. One, of course, is falling asleep, and a dog. Yes, a dog. What does Hieroglyph do? Fire a couple arrows, one of whom managed to hit both goblins really easily and hit the dog too. Couldn't they just politely put the dog to sleep? Why do they have to kill for like that? And then they go in, and they of course have to cover themselves with goblin blood, which of course they had this brought up back in episode 1, and Hieroglyph's like, "Why would you do this for?" Cut off the smell. It's like, ugh. And Priest's like, "Yeah, don't worry, it'll come out. It will come out with just rub it with some water. It'll come out perfectly fine." And so they venture in the ruins, and they take out some goblins. And of course, she's surprised at how he acts toward goblins. And he's like, "You ready to go up here?" It's like, "Nope, let's go forward." And they proceed to go through the ruins pretty easily. And they come to a fork. There's left, right. Like, left must be the nest. Like, no, we're gonna go to the right. And what's in there? A woman who is still alive but traumatized. And so the lizard priest is like, "Okay, so I'm a soldier. Like, here, give this note," and take the girl straight to the elf camp, because this whole thing basically, because apparently the military does not want to deal with goblins. They want to deal with demons and freaking goblins. I'm thinking, demons are on the capital. It sounds similar to that of Overlord. I mean, does goblins have to take place in the same universe as Overlord? I don't know. It would be possible. You could definitely see this series take place in the universe of Overlord. There's nothing that says it can't. You could say it's a different country, one of those many countries they mentioned in this particular series, but yeah. So they venture the ruins, and they take out some. They got a whole boatload of goblins, and then they got the last thing, which is simply an org. Yes, an org. And it takes a while, though. He says, like, "Okay, I was planning to use this on a bunch of goblins, so use this scroll to summon a bunch of seawater to slice this ogre, who apparently has got regenerative abilities, and kills him." Yep. They'll basically, all team effort, basically, to kill this one ogre. And then next episode, it's revealed that Priestess got herself a promotion to, I think it was a higher promotion. I don't remember what it was. Let me look it up here. She got promoted the very next episode. Yeah, she got promoted. I don't remember what it was. Basically, it was like a light green. It's not copper per se. It's something about porcelain. Yeah. So, this whole episode 4 is basically, Goblin Slayer doesn't do much of anything in this one. No, he doesn't. He just basically shows up, like, even though he had just received serious wounds in the previous episode. He collapses, apparently slept for 3 straight days, helps out cargo, bringing supplies to town, and Lizard Priest apparently is obsessed with cheese, gives him rolled cheese, and he just like, "Yeah, thank you." And they're seeing for this one brief scene, and that's it. The only time you see Goblin Slayer is that he's asked to be an observer, because the Goblin's like, "Nope, no." But we need to observe because, well, Adventure basically is late getting back. We need to get this promotion with. So he's asked to be an observer. He's like, "Okay, that's fine." And he does get paid for this, by the way. Yeah, they do mention he does get compensated for being an observer. Yep. And it's all about this one guy who wants to get promoted to next rank. He was bragging he should be higher rank. I think that's how it works. Yeah, and it turns out, though, like, he mentioned about new equipment. It turns out he actually falsified a report and stole treasure during his last quest he was on. And the guild girl doesn't like that very much, so she demorphs him to porcelain. He gets angry. There's a sort of a brief thing where he basically looked like he was going to attack Guild Girl, but then Goblin Slayer punched him, basically breaking his nose. And it turns out that was all a daydream. Yeah. So he leaves in a huff, doesn't do anything. He talks to Goblin Slayer briefly, and Goblin Slayer mentions he gets a... Of course, there's a mention of there's basically the first mentioning of the character of Sword Maiden. You see her basically, which mentions she's the Demon King. And the fact that the priestess is with her basically has this sort of lie detector. Yeah, an actual magical lie detector, which like the guy was lying, he basically stole. And Goblin Slayer's out of the room because it's hinted at that Guild Girl has got feelings for him, and he's unable to express it because she's so nervous around him. And then he's gone for maybe 5 minutes and comes back. He's like, I have a quest. And it's a quest from Sword Maiden. Yeah, but that sets up the very next episode. But there's a side. This is actually a B plot in this episode where it involves this two-person party, which they were hunting rats, and they weren't able to defeat the rats, so they won't get any money. Incomplete quest. They try to figure a way to get back the weapon because of a sword down there. So they discuss with people like get a loner, and Goblin said recommends use a club because you can't use a sword. Use a club. Like, okay. It works well against goblins. He has like, does it work well against rats? He says yes, yes it does. So he gets him a club. Apparently it's all bands. It comes like a baseball bat. ABC to beat deliver he beats. He whacks a rat a few times. That's it. They come across some. Of course, he's given before he goes out there. He talks to Witch, and she gives him a candle that she pulls out of her chest. I mean, who she thinks she is? Crazy? Okay. Yeah, it's particularly very weird. And apparently, no one questions the fact that, Spearman says nothing to the fact that his partner just basically pulled an object out of her chest. As for the guy who's asking for like a loan or whatever, he is a little bit surprised about this. He does have a reaction to it. The woman he's with does have a reaction with. Spearman has got no reaction. Apparently, it's probably not the first time. I mean, it could be implied that he could be sleeping with her, but I don't think he is. Nope. So apparently, this particular candle would. Of course, she eventually like you could also easily just sell this off if you wanted to. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Basically, this will help you find your sword, and when they get down there, they do find it. Apparently, it's the body of a cockroach. Yes, a giant cockroach. Okay, so after whacking it a few times, he takes a knife, slices open, gets back his sword, and he celebrates later to get back his frickin' sword. It's completely unknown if he gets compensated for basically back his sword, but he does celebrate. But yeah, not much else to say about this group. It's an interesting little subplot. But as the case, the first 5 episodes, they actually are really good. Now, the studio who made this particular series is a company by the name of White Fox. Yes, that is the name of the company that made this thing. Yeah, White Fox is the studio who made it. Now, I don't think I've actually heard of this company before. I mean, I pulled it up right now. Apparently, it started 12 years ago. Aside from this series, I'm looking up at it and just like the series they made. Never watched any of these. Nope, never have. Which I'm like, okay. Yeah, I know for doing like ReZero, Steingate series, but yeah. In case you're wondering when this series aired, October to December of 2018. Yeah, the series aired a little over a year ago. Now, I hint I was going to do this series last year, but Case Go's got in the way, so that was the reason why I delayed it. Yeah, but the next series I'm going to do after this one, that's another series I was going to do last year, but I got distracted by other series. But don't worry, I will announce that when I get to part 3. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next video for this particular review series, I'm discussing episodes 6 to 9. Yep, and in the final one, part 3, I'll discuss 10 to 12. And part 4, when I get a chance to watch it, will be the only film for this series, which is book 4 from this book 5. Yeah, I'll discuss that later. But I'm also planning to do today. Now, I'm also planning to do One Piece, Boruto, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer. And maybe if I get a chance, another Goblin Slayer review. That's a maybe. Heck, I could probably get done the whole series done today. It's possible. It's only 12 episode series. It's only 12 episode season. I haven't heard anything of this going to be season 2 yet. There's been no news about Goblin Slayer aside from the fact they released a movie last month. Aside from that, nothing. Okay? So yeah, until you see the next video. Bye.